My guests today have been described as Vampire Weekend, Fleet Foxes and Arcade Fire, all rolled into one. There's a bit of Broadway, a touch of Motown and a tang of choir nerd to them. Their debut album, Gorilla Manor, is hitting the shelves during a 2-month sold-out tour of Europe. So are local natives too good to be true? Matt Frazier and Ryan Hahn are here. We're going to play your song Aeroplanes in a minute, but before we hear it, tell us a little bit about it.
It's a song that Kelsey, the keyboard player in our band, he wrote the lyrics for, and it's just about how he never met his grandfather, who died before he was born, and he heard so many amazing things about him and how he wished he could have spent more time with him, or any time, I guess. So.
Okay, well, let's have a listen to that. This is Aeroplanes.
The desk where you sit inside of a frame made of wood. I keep those chopsticks you had from when you taught abroad in Japan. I love it all so much I call. See you right there. I want you back.
Well, thanks very much for coming in and speaking to us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Now, you've got things in common with 3 of the most acclaimed bands over the past few years. Was that deliberate?
Not at all. Not at all, actually. I mean, I think nothing we've ever really done was like a conscious decision. It was always kind of like a natural progression more kind of thing. We've been playing together for, I mean, over 4 years now. Some of the guys over close to 8 years, and we just kind of evolved into what it is now. And it was never, it was never like, okay, we're going to sound like this and write songs like this. It was just kind of, yeah, we're influenced by the music that we listen to, and those are all great bands that we've listened to in the past. But, I think we draw influences from many other aspects of music as well. So I definitely think we're doing something that is still unique in our own,
And local natives are just starting out, really. It's pretty tough on the road, not much money, lots of travelling. How are you finding your first tour?
We've come to find that we're kind of an anomaly with bands. We're all like best friends, and we don't kill each other, and we actually all live together back at home. So being on the road has been just kind of I don't know, just like our home away from home, like in the van. It's fine for us. We love it. We love spending all this time together. So.
But it's the first time you're actually headlining. Before you were a support act.
That's true.
What's that like? Was it a big shock, the change?
Yeah, I mean, this is our first extensive European tour ever, and just the fact that a lot of these shows have a lot of people have come out to most of them, and it's just been really overwhelming. So yeah, it's definitely been kind of a shock.
Like, we're in cities that we can't even really pronounce the name of. We just butcher it, but we were in Holland, and there was like a sold-out show, and to us that's just like mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense, but we're loving it. So.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about Gorilla Manor. Now, that's the name of your album, but it's also the name of where you live. Is that right?
Well, it was kind of a term that we coined for the house that we were living in while we were.
It's not the official name.
No,
it's not. There's no. It was never.
plaque
I don't think there was
on
ever a point in time where I said, "Hey, let's go back to Gorilla Manor." Or something. But yeah, it was just kind of like, it was more of like a even like a time period where it was just such a crucial time for the band, and we finally had an album's worth of material, and we hunkered down and kind of put everything else aside and really gave it 125%, and finally, started making this thing that is Gorilla Manor. And yeah, it was just a really important time for us. And I think that aside, those 2 words kind of just made this interesting juxtaposition of words that kind of embodied the nature and the goings on within the band, I think, very well. So.
Gorillas working together. Sometimes now a band is defined as a singer, sometimes as a genre, but for you it's really about your voices, isn't it? You all sing and take part in that. How does that creative process work? Does one of you write the songs, or do you do it all together?
No, again, we're really weird. We're very collaborative. Like, anyone in the band can bring like a guitar line or a vocal melody, and really we just kind of present it to one another, and the song will like flip on its head a million times over, and we'll hash it out in one room together for hours on end. And Yeah, our songwriting process is kind of all over the board, but for us, it's more fun that way, I would say.
And you didn't always used to be called Local Natives, did you? You had a different name.
Yeah.
Why did you change it?
Well, I'd been playing with Taylor for like over 10 years or something. Just, you know how it is, like when you're in high school and junior high, you've got all sorts of atrocious songs and in different different things, phases that you go through. So I think it was just time that we kind of took the band a little more seriously, and we kind of...
And it was called Cavil at Rest before.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is there anything else that needs to be said? I don't think so.
It just goes back to, you know, what I was talking about with, you know, the whole Gorilla Manor process. And, you know, at that point when we started recording, we were still under the name Cavil at Rest. And, you know, it kind of took us, you know, like I said, we've been playing together for about 5 years now. And it kind of took us a couple years to really kind of catch a groove and really kind of, I guess, get to know each other as musicians and figure out what works best for the band. And I think once we did, it was kind of like almost starting anew. And with all this new material and all this new like kind of like way of going about things, I think a new name was in order. And so Local Natives is kind of when that's kind of how I was born. So.
Okay. Well, great. Good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks very much for coming in and speaking to us. And you can see the Local Natives. They're playing at the Moroccanerie in Paris tonight. Now to a photography exhibition on the other side of the world, something completely different. Razzi is the photographer of the exiled and the unfathomable. His work radiates light, and it's been showing at a photo festival taking place in Laos.
It's the second Luang Prabang International Exhibition of Photography, a unique occasion for different photographers and cultures to meet. The guest of honor is Razzi, the photographer of the unfathomable. He is a veteran photographer who found his passion at a very young age. He has come here to share his vision with the public, both young and old.
It's coming from my inner self. It's deeper than my subconscious. It feels like a burning desire.
Heat and light are the key elements of Razzi's art, and his art is an obsession that drives him even in the streets of Luang Prabang, an ancient city of Laos that he is rediscovering.
It's like a little diamond of the north, which radiates light and reflects it around the world. As for this exhibition, it's also the same. It's all about light. This light is coming from afar. It crosses the empty space. It's intergalactic. And it comes right to us.
Razzi is also a photographer of the exiled. He spent more than 20 years in France, so his period of exile has strongly influenced his work. His black and white pictures are perhaps a reflection of his soul.
He's a person who's strongly influenced by paintings. His pictures are very dark, like in the olden days. They resemble paintings, and his return to Laos, his homeland, is like a resurrection for him.
On the bank of the Mekong River, Razzi meets his daughter, an art expert living in Berlin. She has both a professional and an emotional opinion of her father's work.
I believe his pictures are very obscure, very somber. I think he hides a lot behind all the darkness.
Yes, she's right. I want to hide things. All my pain. When I was in Paris, I was like a Mekong fish that was plunged into the sea.
The unfathomable darkness of Razzi's art perhaps comes from his memories of exile. His work is a tribute to life, inspired by a profound emotion in which everyone can relate to, whether in Laos or anywhere else in the world.
There you go, that's your dose of culture for today. See you tomorrow.